Okay, you guys can file 13.
You have my authority file.
Put it in his file 12. That way it adds up over the years.
Sit down.
So who hit the bridge out here?
Oh, I
Either
saw that.
Saturday night or Sunday?
Bridge.
Main bridge by your place. Took out the guardrail on the east side.
Cool. Awesome. I'm sure alcohol was a factor.
At least it wasn't the fire department when they went out to Duke's out there. That was funny watching them come flying out of the elevator office because they were at the wrong spot.
Gets on his way, but we'll start without him. Okay, we'll call the City Commission Monday, June 10th, 2019 City Commission meeting to order. First is approve the minutes from May 28th. Everybody have a chance to read those, review them?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from May 28th, 2019.
I'll second.
Discussion, additions or corrections? Okay, Colin?
Yes.
Mike?
Aye.
Well?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, financials, everybody have a chance to review the financials?
One question, but I think the games of chance, that's what,
About revenue?
yeah, is that revenue,
Yep.
that's what they, pull tabs or what?
So they have to pay for these permits, and also we get, I want to say we get some from the state as well.
Okay.
The Attorney General's office, like every once in a while, will send us some.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the financials.
Second.
Any further discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Susie, you probably want to get out of here. Still fireworks.
I'm here just every year we come and just let the city commission know that we're gonna be selling fireworks again. For memory fireworks, start selling June 27th through the 5th of July. So I know the ordinance is shooting, they can light them off noon to midnight, except on the 4th, it's noon to 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we just come and let you know, and it's kind of a courtesy thing that we will be up at Super Value again at Krause's and selling the same company with memory.
Same as every year.
Same as every year, yeah.
Did we vote on that or not?
You've never voted on it, you just, I don't know, memory really likes us to come in and the commission just kind of do a courtesy.
Yeah, I was thinking you didn't vote on it.
Yeah, it was kind of, okay.
Okay. Cool. And
Thank
then,
you.
Thank you, yeah, and then, she's also here, they were wondering about Riverboat Days for next year. They would like to reserve the hall, correct?
Yeah,
And then you're also asking for, waive the fees?
the waive the fees, yeah. So it's the second weekend again in June, it's,
11th to the 14th.
Oh, that's just
Yeah.
one's for
yes,
11, okay.
yep,
yeah,
the new
like,
one, the 11th through the
that's like
14th.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here, I didn't see a year, so.
Let's do it
Yeah.
again.
I might have even put the wrong date in there, I don't even, did I do 2020?
I
You
don't-
didn't put the year
You didn't put the
Oh,
year.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's for next year. I talked to Rainey and she said it's probably a good idea to get that done right away, and
I would move to approve the hall rental
waiver for next year's remote days.
Second that?
Okay, discussion? So, I imagine, you know, kind of like, if things get rained out, then like the band gets moved in there, and then, you know, like.
Right.
The fire department might need to do their.
Yes, on the
feed in
Sunday.
or
Yep,
whatever.
and that's what I told Rainey too, and I know the, square dancers were, you know, anybody that wants to use it for a certain period of time just
Right.
to.
Yeah, they just work with them.
Yeah, we just work with them,
perfect.
but I just wanna make sure like a class reunion or somebody in the years past have come and rented it for like the whole day Friday, and then we have nowhere else to go.
Right, right.
You know,
Sure,
so,
sure.
but yeah, we're open to letting people in from, you know, for
Yeah.
those kind of situations, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Good. All right, no problem. Okay, any other discussion on that? Colin?
Yes.
Mike?
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
thank you very much.
Made it quick, you guys.
Yeah. Much appreciated.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Thank you. We will, our resolution setting auditor's bond. I believe that has to be read, isn't that correct, Rainey?
Yeah,
Get your name on it.
Want me
Rainey,
to
would
read
you
it?
like to read it?
Okay, resolution setting auditor bond limit, whereas the city of Washburn is covered by a blanket bond by the North Dakota State Bond Fund, and whereas the North Dakota State Bonding Fund provides fidelity bond coverage for city employees and public officials in dealing with public funds, and whereas the bond is fixed by the city governing body and set by a resolution as outlined in North Dakota Century Code 40-1302, and whereas as June 10th, 2019 regular city council meeting of Washburn City Commission, the current bond limits were reviewed and found to be sufficient. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Washburn, North Dakota, that the auditor bond coverage by the State Bonding Fund in the amount of $2 million has been reviewed and found sufficient. Dated this 10th day of June, 2019.
Okay, I will move to accept the resolution as read.
Second?
Either one doesn't matter.
She can.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Mike?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna jump over that Main Avenue street project until we get to Eric. Okay, we'll discuss the home occupation and residential district. I believe you're here for that, right, Reese? I mean, that's kind of, you were concerned, I believe.
Yeah, that concern, and in fact, with planning and, planning and zoning rep, and then they discussed it. But
Right.
I did place this on the agenda. tonight.
No, I know you did,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I know you did, but, yeah.
Yep, that was a concern.
Yeah. So anyway, it was brought up at planning and zoning, and it really needed to come to the city, I think, commission. You know, there's several places in town that basically, you know, run their business out of their home. If you go by the ordinance, you know, I believe if it's inside your home, you can run the business. Isn't that correct, Rainey?
The definition, I believe I gave it ordinance, and I didn't keep a copy for myself. There's a definition for home occupation.
Home occupation means an occupation which, A, is carried on in a dwelling unit by members of the family, B, is clearly secondary to the use of residential dwelling units, and C, does not create excessive noise, traffic, or conflict with adjoining uses. You know, we have, well, it's King's up there, you know, on Fifth Avenue, I believe it is. You know, it basically has his construction stuff there. I did talk with him briefly. He said the only time it's there is when he's using it there. Don't know about that, but, So, and then, while talking to him, he also, he also stated that, well, there's other places in town, like, the trucks down, we'll call it Snake Town, on Missouri Avenue down there, they park their semis there. And there's probably a couple other ones around town. So, I guess we need to decide.
And that's handymen and construction people and that stuff, right? There are several of them that are running town that way.
Some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess, how do we want to proceed with this? It's not fair to their neighbors by any means. That's something we want to, get a list together of how many there are and go from there, or I suppose we gotta start somewhere. It does say in a R1, you can do a home occupation, but once again, the home occupation is, what I just read, which,
Oh, this is our planning and zoning?
that's, yeah.
That's the ordinance 117A-1. So it is an ordinance.
Now, are we talking businesses that have official titles? Is that what we're, registered with the state?
I don't know.
I'm just,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't-
asking.
Yeah, and I'm just
You
saying,
know.
I don't know. A home occupation doesn't necessarily have to be registered with the state. I don't believe.
But like daycare, any of that stuff? Or are we encompassing here, is what I'm asking.
Okay.
So we have an idea.
Well, in R1, you can, permitted uses in R1 is single-family detached residential units, churches, schools, and public facilities, including libraries, parks, and schools. Accessory buildings and structures, home occupation. Conditional uses are daycare facilities, modular homes, and municipal offices, including city, county, and state offices. So really, to run a daycare out of their home, they should file for a conditional use permit.
Mm-hmm.
And I doubt anybody has. Well, like I said, I think we probably need to get a list together. That's where we would start, and then, whether we, write them a letter telling them that they're in violation of the ordinance, or what have you, or invite them to come to a meeting.
I would say we start there. I mean, they don't know what the ordinance is, or, are unaware of what is permitted in town.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
We start with the basics and just
Yeah,
identify who these are, send them a notice,
right,
a copy of the ordinance, and ask for a response maybe.
sure.
Be
But the meeting,
my suggestion.
okay, I like that. Anybody else think?
We need to work through it, and I think that's a good idea. And I make a motion that we get a list together and invite these people down and see what their concerns are.
or at least all them are concerned.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, make a motion.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that at this time? Colin?
Yes.
Good,
I'm not gonna, I don't know, I got here too late.
okay.
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes, okay. Okay, list of public sale items. Everybody should have a list. That'd be this one right here. So at the last meeting, we had talked about, you know, getting rid of a lot of our excess stuff. It's a good idea. I guess the question is, how do we want to do this? Do we want to, you know, I suppose you could put it on the city website, you could do like Facebook, whatever, and then, you know, maybe have it listed in the paper. I'm guessing.
And would you just do like write-in bids or something?
I would say.
If somebody sees
Yeah,
something
just-
they want, just send in a bid or what?
Well, we tried to like number everything. I took pictures with the number on the item. I'm just missing a few photos of the last few items on the list here, but we thought we would have a bid sheet with numbers, and then they could put in their, whatever
Right.
their offer is, and then we can use those.
I think that would work fine.
And we have the right to refuse if we see fit.
Did
can
you
put that-
want to put minimum bids? I didn't know that's why
Well,
that
the
column
only
was
one
over
I'm
there.
worried about is 34. Because if we don't get it out and enough people know about it, it might come in way too low.
Right, well, yeah,
You know,
I think we should have something in there.
in there.
Well, and maybe on that one, we should have a reserve.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was,
And then, or we could put in there a minimum bid of,
Figure
yeah.
minimum dollar amount that you
So-
have.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I
Right.
feel more comfortable with that.
yeah, I agree with you on that, absolutely. The rest of the stuff, I don't think we're gonna get a lot of money for it.
Last time looking at some of the computer keyboards,
Yeah, we just went to the back room and just like stuff, we just pulled stuff out. Where
Right.
just stored.
Yeah.
I thought there were more vehicles on there, like a year ago, I thought Brian had done an inventory of the shop too. I thought there were more big items. No,
We sold, the pickup,
okay.
pretty much, vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a minimum on the floor covering? Rainey, what's that cost us, do you know?
No, I had it with me last time. I wanna say it was right around $6,000, but I can look. I can put the minimum of what we paid for it, if that's what you're thinking.
Or a percentage,
Well, I would,
75% of what we paid for it.
maybe, yeah.
You know, that, something like that.
Well, right, I don't think we're gonna
Yeah.
get what we paid for it.
No,
You know,
no.
so, yeah, say 75% of what we paid for it.
Would be the minimum, and then, yeah.
but if we don't get that and it doesn't go, then what do we do with them? You know, move them around, kick them around, they get tore, 5 years later, they're not worth anything.
Yeah, but maybe we're not advertising it good enough.
Yeah, that's what I was
You know.
thinking, then maybe we need to do like the League of Cities, like,
Yeah,
because I'm not sure if you can advertise in that,
Yeah, you can live advertise it.
that's what I was thinking. We could do it through them, maybe if we don't hit our reserve.
If it's over a certain amount, yeah, you have to offer it for bids. What is it, $2,500 or something? Or we could put, say, half price on it, you know, minimum half
Yeah,
price, you know, or
something.
something. It's not doing us any good. It's just
No,
taking up
no.
space. It was a mistake to get it, but whatever. That's water under the bridge. so.
Because sometimes when they see this stuff, it comes out and people start thinking about it. So if it don't go the first time, we can wait 6 months and do it again, and then we know.
Okay, yeah. I would say a minimum of 50%. So I'll make a motion that we, put this list, or we sell these things by bids with, a minimum of 50% cost on number 34. And then we'll just let you, Rain, and Jackie figure out what needs to be done. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Well, yes. Okay. Mowing of parcels. Greenie, you probably know more about that.
Yep, so I got a list of parcels in town that needed mowing. I think I provided the ordinance
Mhm.
for you. So, part of that ordinance is then that we will have it mowed and the cost will be assessed to their property. So, wondering who you'd like to designate or how you'd like to designate who's going to mow, so that we know how to carry through if they don't meet the deadline of the 14th.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Do you have to send them a letter first?
We did.
But is that you have to do that first? Okay.
Well, I did. I sent them a letter, giving them, telling them that they had to, minimum of like 8 inches or whatever it was.
Maximum 8 inches.
Yeah, I don't think I kept a copy of the letter here, but, told them what ordinance it was, and then told them it would be assessed to their property.
Okay.
That was off, that part of the section of the ordinance.
They have until June 14th. to do
June
that.
14th, yeah, that's what I,
Does Chris do that, Brian? That's you?
He got away from it quite a while ago. He might do it again, I don't know. It depends on what it is too.
Yeah, if you know
I think a
anybody
big
else.
one he would do, but if he's like a smaller yard, he's not gonna.
Yeah.
Maybe
we
that's.
had someone come in from CNC Mowing, is that what their name was? I can't remember if she gave us a business card. There's a family in town that's got a lawn mowing service.
Oh, really?
Don't know if, if you want us to ask them.
Start with them, maybe for seasons or something. The tree guy, I don't know if he does that or not.
Are these lots residential or just vacant lots or?
Some of them are vacant.
Mixture of everything?
Yes, there's a mixture of everything.
Well, if there's a business in town that does it, I mean, that would be nice.
Right, because they know what charge on, they got an idea on price.
We can look at it and.
Well, the main thing is we don't want to do it with our equipment.
Right.
We don't have enough time. No, so.
So if they don't meet the deadline, then I can ask CNC for their, do you want to get a bid from them first, or just tell them to go do it?
We need to know how much they're going to charge.
Well, we do.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not going to charge $200 an hour.
Hopefully not. But if we don't say that, then.
We could find out if they charge based on an hour
Yeah.
or based on lot size or the job. You get some idea. You don't ask, it's.
I will leave that, we will leave that to the building and zone and auditor to
Okay.
go through that. That's okay with everybody.
Why don't we have time?
Mhm.
Why don't we have time?
Why don't we have time with our stuff?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, we have our own stuff to do, and then, if our equipment's damaged in there, then we're screwed, It's, it does get paid by them, I would assume keep our stuff out of it. That's kind of what we've always done in the past, we've always hired, right? And Chris did it for quite a number of years, right? And,
Okay, how far behind are you right now, Brian, with the thing you're doing?
This is the first time I've ever heard that Chris has done mowing like this for us.
Really?
Yep. That's never been brought brought up in a meeting? Never once. So who's doing that on their own?
did that?
It's been years.
Oh, it's been years.
Oh, yeah, it's.
Yeah, we've never,
Okay.
been here just about 8 years in this term and 2 terms, and I've never,
Really?
never has this ever come up before.
No.
Not saying that they didn't get the letter and took care of their situation,
Right,
but we've never had this before.
okay.
Other than the messy yards, you know, with the vehicles, you know, that we fight all the time, but.
Yeah. I just think it's best not to use our equipment in there. You know, I mean, there is that business in town that does it, so.
It's probably a good thing because you're getting an invoice.
That's
If that invoice is what's being assessed to the property, probably just good to have that operation.
And with the project coming up, I think our employees are gonna have a lot of things to be looking after.
Do we need a motion on that, or?
Make the motion.
No, that.
Any further discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
No.
Mike?
Hi.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, readdress spending limits. Colin was concerned on that.
Yep. I think when we discussed this the first time, kinda got sidetracked a little bit, and not really where I think it should have been. So I would like to revisit that. I think with where it was, we were micromanaging as a commission to, you know, and nobody could purchase anything without approval of the commission.
Okay.
The bills are reviewed at every meeting, so it ain't like nobody's trying to hide anything, so I would like to offer to change those. And my suggestion would be for, on the low end, for like the city employees, you know, Brian, Adam, just keep their limit to still $500, $0 to $500. From $501 up to $1,500. If one of the city employees needs something in between that price range, they would have to get the auditor's approval also, so she's aware of that expenditure amount. And then for higher limits, from 1501 up to 4,000 would be determined by the president of the commission and one city commissioner. They would both have to approve that. And then above 4,000 or 4,001 and above requires full city commission approval.
I like that.
I just think, you know, there's little piddly things like in the past, you know, tires for the skid steer, you know. I don't think we needed, that really needed to come before the commission to.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
So I would like to make a motion that we amend the spending limits to those dollar amounts as stated.
Okay. I'll second that. Discussion? Okay, no discussion. Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Aye.
Mike?
Hi.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay. Salary discussion?
Back, I guess, when the auditor was first hired last year, was that June, yeah? June 1st. She was hired. And again, I wasn't there when the hiring was done, but knowing what she started at and then going through the reviews last fall, I feel that she, for what she does, is worth more, based on similar positions in different cities, what their salary range is. So I'd like to, take her up a slight bump again, here effective July 1, to take the auditor's position from $26.69 per hour to $27.65 per hour.
What is it now? 20?
$26.69.
Okay. And you figured that price out, basically looking at not quite $1.
Right.
Something. Was that a motion? Or did you motion or not?
I did, and I was just presenting, but I guess I would like to make a motion to increase the auditor's salary from $26.69 per hour to $27.65 per hour.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Now discussion?
I'd like to see higher, because auditors have a lot of responsibility, and they have a lot of work to do. And I know for me, I wouldn't do it for that price. We haven't come close for that price. So I'd like to see her up close to $30 an hour.
Okay, this is, probably until the end of the year, I'm guessing, when we
Right, and
review
then
salary,
we can bump it again.
salaries.
We can keep bumping it, it's just,
I just don't know what we have in the budget. Since we had to have, and maybe Rainey knows, since we had, Linda and stuff, we may
which
not
cost
have
us
been able.
a ton of money.
Right,
So
And
we're
so-
better off keeping somebody good than going
right.
all of a sudden, no. Even if it's not in the budget, then we're forced to hire an outside consulting firm.
Mhm.
So we need to find a way to figure it out.
Yeah, okay. I think Rainey's doing a heck of a job. I'm definitely for this. I think, this is fair for now. Because there was a raise at the beginning of the year, and then now this will be another little bump, and then I'm sure we'll be raising it again, first of the year. And I think Rainey's definitely worth the money. Did you discuss this with Rainey at all? Or-
I have not.
Okay.
Maybe we should ask her.
Put you on the spot.
It put you on the spot.
Hold out for more.
Yeah. I will say, in my review, I had asked for more. I was disappointed at what I had gotten.
Yeah.
And I had that discussion with Colin and a few others of you on the board, so.
But you knew what you were getting hired at your wage when you were coming in.
I did, but I also said, when does this next salary review? And was told it was in June, or it was in December, which would be 6 months, and so I said, okay,
Yeah.
as long as
Right.
there's a review in 6
Right.
months, and I can negotiate.
Well,
But
Plus-
then, I have nothing against you, you do a great job. I really, we all appreciate what you do and we know what you go through, but, it is just your first year getting your feet wet of what, I don't know how much difference this is and what you've dealt with in the past, but, for 1 year, and then you wanted to bump her up $4 an hour just about.
But what
To
kind
me,
of
that's
mess,
a little bit extreme.
but what kind of mess did we dump on her? And we didn't tell her that was all messed up. And the computer's going down and outdated, and she saved our butts on getting the backup, so we have all that information.
But that should have been anybody's job that come in here and took this position.
It could have been like Cole Harbor, they quit in 2 days too. So, you know,
Whatever, this is what I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
not being
no,
nothing
I-
against you, Rain, so please don't take this personal, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what I'm, just, okay, I'll shut up now, just forget what I said. Let's move on.
Are you happy with this for now, or would that be fine, or?
Well, I'm not gonna argue, I'm not gonna say anything.
I know, I know, that's on the spot. Any other discussion on this? Okay, we have the motion, to raise it to $27.65. And then it would be reviewed again in the fall, or, for next year. Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Alright,
Mike?
no,
Well,
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Okay. Okay. Ducks Unlimited?
I received this, application for a local permit today, and I called Dean and asked him, that $10,000, I asked him to break it out for me, so that's what the blue, it's not blue on yours, but that's the 10 different firearms, the decoys, all of those, that is supposed to equal up that $10,000.
Okay.
It just-
I was really
was not-
wondering about that.
Yeah, I was
so-
not happy as a lump sum, like, I went back
Right.
and looked at some older ones,
Mhm.
and they had a little bit more detail, so that's what that is.
Okay. And when is this for? This is,
September 27th,
they're gonna have a banquet at the hall, is that?
yes, and I
Okay.
have a rental agreement from them as well.
They do that every year, don't they? I think so,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. I move that we, approve the, raffle permit for Ducks Unlimited.
I'll second.
Good. Discussion? Colin?
Aye.
Kit?
alright,
Mike?
alright,
Ross?
Aye.
Yes. We'll just skip 14. I think you can actually take 14 off the, agendas for a while, unless they come. Okay, A2S, let me come up, we got Main Avenue Street, Pacific Main Avenue Street, and sewer project.
Good evening.
Welcome back, North Dakota.
Thank you. Good to be back. So I passed out an update sheet to everybody. Should be in front of your iPad somewhere if you don't have it in your hand. But yeah, I'll start with Main Avenue. So we opened bids on Friday the 31st, I believe it was. Behind your update sheet, I have the bid tabulation. We had 3 bidders, Weiss & Sons, Unlimited Excavating, and Wagner Construction. You can see the bid results there. Weiss & Sons was the low bidder. And we reviewed the tabulation and confirmed all the numbers, and Weiss & Sons is a reputable contractor.
Very reputable.
So they're good, and we're recommending. I think I had to do the recommendation letter, Larry, but we're going to recommend Weiss & Sons for the Main Avenue project. I have 3 copies of the notice of award. If the city would approve it, for Larry to sign, then we would send that to Weiss & Sons, and then we would also send the contract to them and get it back for you to sign. So.
Hey, Colin, you wanted to, Colin would like to see us get, the money first. Figure out where we're
Well,
gonna pay
I have
for it.
an issue awarding bid to a contractor when we haven't secured funding yet.
Okay.
Because, if we award the contract, we're bound by that. And if funding doesn't come through from what we're hoping, then what happens?
Yeah, I guess if you'd want to make sure you have funding lined up, that'd probably be a good
That would be
idea.
my suggestion.
Is there a time limit on accepting their bid, or?
I'd have to look at the agreement and get back to you, when that was, but, you still have some time. I talked to Ryan at, Weiss and Sons, and he thought that they would be able to start on this by the end of July. They're pretty busy already. This was a kind of an in-between project for them.
Oh,
They already
okay.
had a lot of stuff booked up for the summer. So I called him the other day. He's like, "Yep, I'm tracking everything," and I wanted to let him know ahead of time that that's what our recommendation was going to be, just to see what their schedule would be to start work on it, to give you better information.
Right.
And he said it would be the end of July, so I would want to do a pre-con mid-July, third week of July, somewhere in there, pre-construction meeting. But that gives you a little bit more time if you're looking for funds.
I guess what I'm thinking is, probably go to 1 cent sales tax for this. I mean, that's kind of what it's for,
And if we don't do it fairly soon, will they be booked up to where they can't start on until August, November, and get us into trouble?
I think we have a little bit of time. I can call Ryan again and see how long that we could hold off on it.
Well, what we can do is,
I mean, until you sign the contract, though, you're not bound to anything. I mean, I see what you're saying, but if you were to give them the notice of award and then they complete the contract and send it back to you, you ultimately still have to sign it before anything's found.
I mean, if you wanna do that, just before we sign on the dotted line, I wanna make darn sure we got
Yeah.
funding secured.
Yep.
And, we can set up a 1 cent sales tax meeting. I think we have to have a week's notice. Other than that, then if we would need a special meeting, after they meet, we could do that also.
And there is enough in the funding in the 1 cent sales tax,
There
right?
is.
If I remember right, if I read it right?
Yes, there is.
And my concern too, though, is these are some really good numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over $100,000 less than the next bidder. I mean, that's some pretty good numbers, I'd hate to lose it.
Yeah, we were honestly surprised by the other two bids that we got. I didn't expect them to be that high. I'm really happy that we got the one reasonable one. And in the end, that's all you need is the one good bid. But
Well, I'm gonna bring up too, with Wise and Son, that is a completed project, correct? That's curb and gutter, that's asphalt.
yes,
My
the price that
concern-
they,
My concern with laying asphalt down that soon after, I would rather not see asphalt laid until next year.
and that's
What-
something we could work out with them. I believe in the contract, the way we have it set up, or in the contract documents, is for them to have final or substantial completion by the end of August, and final completion 2 weeks after that. So we had planned it to be done all this year, but obviously they would have to just wait on bringing in their asphalt subcontractor until the next year, if that's what the city would decide they wanted to do.
Typically, I see settling going on, and then we're back, patching streets next year, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens with every street project, though,
Unless you can
I know.
guarantee me 100% perfection.
I mean,
The only problem with there is, it's a lot of water,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's,
and one thing
that's the only issue I have.
you could do is, you could do the first lift this summer or this fall, when they, at the end of August, when they're finishing up, and then next year come back and do the second lift. That's always an option, that's commonly done.
But then you've got twice the mobilization cost, so.
Well, we were talking about doing a street project too, though, weren't we?
Possibly.
Possibly, so. I think we should get the basic done up to the asphalt for sure this year, and
But they might void their contract if it's not just how,
That's something we would have to talk about, if that's what the city would want to do.
I mean, I just hate to, spend money now to fix it, and then next year, because they didn't get compaction good, or nobody's watching them, and they pulled a fast one, and we got a soft spot, now it settles.
Well, remember, they have a year warranty, So if it gets that bad, you know, within the first year, so if we have final completion, project closeout, end of August, in September, say, because you have to do a final inspection of the whole project, then it's a year after that, so, you know, you'd have until the next September.
Go through a freeze-thaw cycle anyway to.
Yeah, and then you also got snow removal to think about too, you know, you're gonna have gravel everywhere, and you're gonna have,
Snow, big deal, but yeah,
you know.
it is a low spot, and if you get washout, then we're,
Then we got a mess.
okay, just something.
I know, you know, and I agree with your thinking, it's just, it's such a main thoroughfare, you know, that,
That's a true growth.
yeah, truck road, yeah. You know, once you get, you know, you get a wet season, it's gonna be soft, it's gonna be sinking in, it's, you know. Okay. So I would say that we should, with 1 cent sales tax, we can, like I said, we can have that set up in a week, and then, I mean, I'll be gone for like 10 days, but, you can always call a special meeting and, you know, after 1 cent sales tax or whatever, sign the documents and go from there.
So you're gonna wait on the notice of award then too, until after that meeting?
Well, it's gonna take them a little bit to look that up, right, or you guys, or?
As far as the notice of award, I have the 3 copies of the notice of award here right now. So, I guess what my goal was tonight was to have you all talk about it and vote on it, if you wanted to go ahead and do the notice of award, and then we would mail that to them. And that would take a couple days. We would also mail the agreement and contract forms to them, and then they would have to do that. They would have to execute those and send them back to us, and then I would bring all of that back to you all again,
Then we have
and
to
then you
sign
would
that.
sign that contract.
Oh, we
And
can
then
do that.
at that point, you would
Until
sign the contract, then you would issue a notice to proceed at that
Okay.
point.
Okay.
So this notice of award is just telling Weiss and Sons that the city has selected them as the contractor.
Oh,
for this
okay.
work.
Then-
That's all the notice of award is saying.
Then we're locked in then, right?
No, you're not locked in.
No,
Well-
they're locked into their bid then, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
That gives us.
Yeah.
But I guess in the
some leeway.
meantime, with all of your other questions that we talked about with the construction process, I would just make sure that we know what we want to do. If you want to not do things all in 1 year, let's make sure we have that decided before the pre-construction meeting.
Right.
So that
Oh, right.
they're aware of that.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
we want to make sure they know that right away. So just keep thinking about that too.
So I'll make a motion that we, sign the notice of award contract with, Weiss and Sons.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Colin?
Aye.
Kit?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
yes. Okay, next.
Thank you. Next thing is the intake project. We're moving along with that. The first thing I wanted to ask, do you know, has Lindell, David Lindell, has that contract been, the purchase agreement, I should say, with the landowner, is that completed? Do you know where that's at?
We paid for it.
So
I believe it is.
we've done a, what was the word? The $500.
Yeah, we give them earnest money.
Earnest.
Money,
Okay.
there you go, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't remember where we left off on that.
Yeah,
And I
I
wasn't
think
here last
David's
month.
actually out of town till the
Okay.
19th, I think.
Okay.
On vacation, so, yeah, I don't know if it's the actual contract or if it's just, agreement to,
I think it's, you know, if everything goes through as planned, we will move
Yeah.
forward with it, but
Right,
if for
yeah.
some reason the project comes in,
Okay.
we'll budget, we just decide not to do it.
Okay.
that's what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an agreement.
Up until the point that the project was for, okay. I just wanted to make sure I knew where that was at,
Yep.
the land purchase.
Yep.
Okay, and so we're right now, we had the 90% review with you, a couple weeks ago on the plans for the intake project. We're working towards 100% right now. We're working through our final red lines to get to that point. So we're getting there, we're hoping to be done this week. Funding update, as far as FEMA goes, I worked through the Department of Emergency Services, North Dakota Department of Emergency Services, and they worked with FEMA for us to get that FEMA, funding that we're getting for this project. So right now, we had submitted our plans to FEMA, and we're waiting for them to conduct their review, and I do not get an estimate from them on how long that will take them, but we're hoping in the next few weeks that they say, yep, we're good on these plans, and here's the money. And they'll send it to DES, and then that's how the city will get it, to be a reimbursement on payments on the construction of the project. So I want to give you an update on that. As soon as I hear it, I'll let you know. So obviously, that's a big concern. But we are working on that, and I'll keep on track of it. Permits, so we submitted sovereign lands permits and the sovereign lands permit through the State Water Commission and the nationwide applications. Nationwide permit number 12 and 7 actually was last year we did that. So we had to resubmit them again this year since we're on the south side of the river. So the sovereign lands permit was submitted a little over a month ago. So we're still waiting on them. They have to do a review process, and then the nationwide permits, it's 12 and 13 now. The nationwide 12 is for work inside the river, in the river, and nationwide 13 is for the riprap, for fill in the river. So we're gonna, we gotta have a permit for that too. So those 2 permit applications I have right over here, and I would ask those be signed tonight too, and I'll send those in to the Corps. And I'll be coordinating with Jason Ranchler on those, and hopefully we can get those approved as well.
Okay.
And then the last thing that I would ask the commission for, I guess, or the first thing for the improvements project, intake project, was a permission to advertise. So we're hoping to start an advertisement next week. And we want to get this advertised for a little bit longer than we would normally do the 3 weeks for a street project.
Right.
We want to advertise a little bit longer, and then we also wanted to get it out, earlier rather than later. So this is a project that it's not a typical contractor. It might be a little bit tougher to get a contractor for this type of work, or it's tougher work. So we wanted to get the cream of the crop contractors and not be stuck with like 1 or 2 guys that might barely be able to get the job done. So that's the reasoning behind that. I don't know if I need a motion for that or not, but I just was going to ask the commission's...
I would imagine we would.
Okay.
So you're asking for permission to
Permission to advertise, yeah, the intake project.
Yeah. So you think it'd be nice to know about the FEMA
Right.
before we...
And there's no harm in advertising for the project. The only thing that FEMA cares about is they need to say, yes, this project is approved, or we approve this project and here's your funding. They need to do that before we assign a contractor. So we could advertise and bid the project. They're okay with that, but they would not be okay with us like starting and selecting a contractor.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we have, obviously there's a lot of time in advertising and bidding. We have a couple months worth right there of that work that needs to happen before we would actually select anybody. And for sure, FEMA would be done by then. And I said it, but I'd be really surprised if it took FEMA 2 months to review this. When I talked to them initially, they said it would take them a couple of weeks to a month.
Mm-hmm.
But
So then my question, I'm going to put you on the spot. If we proceed and advertise and FEMA falls through, who's left holding the bill for all the advertising and at this point?
As far as the advertising goes, what is it for an ad in the paper for a month?
Depends on what
Sure.
size your ad is and
Okay.
all different kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
And the ad, and your time putting all this together, that's what I'm looking at too again, is,
Right.
putting the cart before the horse, are we?
What I'm concerned about is if we wait for all the FEMA stuff to come in, then it's gonna get too late to advertise. And then, because I think the idea is to get it advertised, and then once everything comes in, they could probably even start this fall yet with some of the river work.
That's the hope, yeah, and I'm gonna talk about the Missouri River flows here in a little bit, but we would want to we would want to get the contractors when they're hungry for work, number one. Number two, we want to get the better contractors. And number three, yes, we absolutely would like to start work this fall. You know, this is a project that's not gonna take 1 year, it's gonna be a couple of years' worth of construction on this. Because you got river work, you got, complex bores that gotta be, done to install this pipe. We have a caisson that's pretty large, it's gotta be sunk. And like I said, the river work, there's gonna be quite a bit there that needs to be done. So, we would wanna start this fall, and it'll be all of next year for sure, I would think. Potentially into the spring of 2021, potentially, depending on how things go.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to, advertise the project.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any other discussion? Colin?
Aye.
Kip?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes.
And I'll be in touch with you when we would start that, but we were looking at starting it next week, so.
Okay.
Okay, next one is Missouri River flows. As you all know, we've had pretty low flows so far. There's been quite extensive flooding in the Midwest. Iowa, Nebraska has been pretty bad. Fort Peck and Garrison have been holding back quite a bit of water. And the reservoirs are filling up, and the snowpack is started to melt. So the river will pick up again here pretty soon. I think I was just looking at it with Brian a little bit ago, but I think we're at 21,000 CFS today, and by the end of the month we're going to be up by 36,000 CFS. So.
When did they start raising it? Like,
Yesterday. Adam thought it was yesterday.
okay, because I know I drove across the bridge
Yeah.
today and it looked pretty low.
We were at like 13,000 CFS, I think, at the lowest part of it.
Right.
And then,
There we go.
so it's been between 13
Yeah.
and 20, I guess. So.
Okay.
Now, I have a question while we're talking about this. When we get the new intake, what's roughly the low we're going to be able to suck out?
What's roughly
The flow, let's say we're at 21,000. Our intake's out at 13,000 right now, right?
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Are we going to be down to where we can pull water out at roughly 5,000 CFO flows?
I would
Or-
I would be extremely surprised if the Corps ever got to 5,000 CFS.
Yeah.
I mean, really, there would be a lot more people out of the water.
Right, but what are you planning for?
Well, we're going to be about 6 feet lower than what the current intake is at now. So we'll be about 1640, and right now we're at about 1646 with the intake screen, current intake screen. So,
So
we're 3 or 6 foot deeper in that river cross section. That is a substantial amount of less flow than 13,000 CFS. I mean 5,000 CFS though, I'd be tough to say where that would be. We'd have to do quite a bit of studying to know
Well, I was just-
where the river level would be
Yep.
based off of that flow.
I was just roughly wondering if you looked into a number, what you had figured out.
To answer your question, I guess, not exactly. We've looked at, we've done a HECRAS study of the reach of the river from north of Washburn to about 6 miles south. And we've mapped where the 100-year and 500-year floodplains are, and we can know roughly where the ordinary high water mark is. But to say what elevation the river is going to be at 5,000 CFS, I couldn't answer that for sure.
Somebody asked me, so I figured I'd better ask just to find out.
Being 6 foot lower, I don't know that the river's ever experienced a 5,000 CFS flow. That would be pretty extreme.
It would be extreme.
So,
Yeah, there would be like you said, there'd be a lot more people in trouble
Yeah.
than us,
yep.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, Bismarck would be in trouble. Well, they got the collector well now, but any surface water intake, the power plants along the river, they would all be high and dry at 5,000 CFS.
Okay.
Okay, and that's that, unless there's any other questions. The water treatment plant ceiling paint update. I have on there no new updates, but I did hear from Mike Sikorsky through Jasper that they are planning on their carpenter to start in the next few weeks. That's about all I have, which is not the best information, but they are working on getting them out here and getting that work. So hopefully either I or Jasper will give you a better update soon.
End of June.
So the end of June was what they initially pledged. And what the last update that I just got from Jasper here today was that that they, in the next few weeks, they want their carpenter to be out here to do what they're proposing. So we're gonna see what that is, however their method is gonna be to fix it, and if we say, yeah, that'll work, then he'll...
The ceiling paint, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned carpenter?
Yes, they have their carpenter that has, I'm not sure what his method or technique's gonna be for it, but...
I don't know if he was a multitasker, can
yeah,
build scaffold and paint himself in.
I'm not sure either, but that's what his words were to us, is that they're carpenter or specialist, but they said the words carpenter, so that's what I put on there. Maybe he's a carpenter, painter, expert.
Yeah.
So I wish I had better information for you, Larry, but that's all I got for
Well,
it.
you know what, that works. So,
And I can, at the end of the meeting, I can walk through all those permits with you. I think I got where to sign on them, and also the notice of award, so.
yeah.
One other question.
Yep.
On Main Street, we went up from a 30-inch to a 36, and they said 10% of the deal. Did you have any cost idea what that actually was for going up in size on the culvert?
I would have to compare what our estimate was on the 30 to the 36. And
Okay, I was just wondering if you saw that.
I don't have both those numbers in front of me. Was it Jasper that gave you it would be a 10% increase to the pipe cost, or who gave you that number?
They were just throwing numbers around, and somebody asked me, so I was just wondering what that
Well,
actually cost us more just to go up in size for future reference.
Yeah.
You can get to that to me later.
Yep. Well, I can show you this. The winning bid price for the 36-inch concrete pipe was let's see here, $168 per foot.
Okay.
That was the bid price by Weiss and Sons, $168 per foot.
Yeah, and you don't remember what the original was.
I want to say that it was probably somewhere around $130 per foot is what I had estimated on the 30-inch.
Okay.
I was gone when
Yep.
when you guys decided to upgrade it from 30 to 36. But okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, portfolios, Colin.
Nothing new. James Silas, Sewage Septic Company, gonna start pumping the fish cleaning station twice a month now, this summer.
Oh, okay.
That was getting pretty rank up there.
They were here just the other day.
There's been a lot of fish cleaned up
Keith
there.
Dallas.
Yeah. That's all I have to report on.
Okay. Good.
Nothing new.
I'm working with the Legion on talking about putting an elevator in
Okay.
between the upstairs and downstairs. And I had a guy come out that is ADA compliant and look at it. He looked at the old stair deal, told us there's no fixing that, it's junk, okay? But he thought our idea of putting the elevator on the, over towards the west side of the building next to the Legion bar and making it a walk or a pass-through, so you come in from the west and you go downstairs and you come out the east. So it's just a walk-through.
Sure.
The bids, I'm waiting for, not bids, I'm waiting for an estimate, and then I need to talk to the Legion and see how we want to pay for that. So either share with them, or we can work it into a budget or something.
Okay.
But I think it's a good idea.
Oh,
Only
absolutely.
main thing is cutting the floor and a 3-inch in the basement, so it's flat when you come out,
Right, okay.
which I don't think is real major project.
I don't think it would be that bad.
I don't think so. So, when we get more information, and we're gonna enclose it so no balls come flying in over the top or anything like that, and so there's safety with the phone service, or, somehow if somebody gets stuck in there when they're walking or something, that they have a ability to get a hold of somebody.
Sure. Thanks.
So, and I think that's it for what I have.
Did we ever get somebody to fix those, sports for the air conditioners?
I talked to Terry about it, and after the first guy didn't wanna do it, I talked to, the guy again and see, and I haven't got back to
Okay.
Terry yet, but I am still working on that.
Okay, thank you. Well,
Nothing new, I guess. Normally, I think we let you guys know that we did hire 2 summer employees, and I guess we skipped that last time, but 2, summer employees were hired, and it looks like they've been pretty busy out mowing, and so, that's all.
I guess, we should make a request to, sales and use. We need to vote on asking them for money. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we, go to sales and use to, fund the Main Street project, also with the engineering.
Okay.
What?
I was just gonna add something, but since you made a motion already. Or not?
What do you wanna add?
That we, for the sales and use tax, that we add in the cost of the engineering
I
fees.
just said that.
Oh, you did? I'm so concentrated here on something I wasn't thinking.
I said plus the cost of the
Oh.
engineering.
Okay, sorry.
And I think that's about $6,000, I believe it was.
For the design fee, yep.
There was advertising fee to it too, is that in there too?
There was design, and then when Jasper came to you guys last meeting, there was a bidding,
Mm-hmm.
since we had to bid the project.
Yeah.
And then there was the construction.
So-
So, you want me to,
I think the total was like 7,500, wasn't it?
yeah, let me,
That's their estimate, what they thought it was gonna cost.
Oh, okay.
I think they had originally said it wouldn't exceed 7,500.
yeah, that was before we knew we had to bid the project. And then we had to bid it.
Oh.
I'll show the task order that Jasper brought to you. I got a copy of it here, I think. So the engineering was 6,000 for design, and then construction administration was the 3,500. So that was that initial, I think. Maybe there wasn't a bidding cost on here if I don't have the right one. Rainey, do you have a copy of it?
I'm not right here, I don't, but I do have my desk.
Well, you can find out what it is and add it on there.
Yeah, I know we talked about, I think you were gone, and I think we approved it in the meetings for the bidding deal, I think.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I think it's how that went,
Okay.
Front of me.
and that was with Jasper.
Well, it'll be
Should be in the
also
minutes.
to put the engineering fees in with the cost, so.
So
And that's my motion. We have a second?
I will second that.
Any other discussion on that? Colin?
Aye.
Kit?
Aye.
Or Mike?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Yes. And then, Rainey, if you can set that up as soon as you can, and then, I won't be back, but if they need me, I can always do by phone. So, okay. Also, can you check on the price of the streetlight for Ivy and Garden Drive again? I know last year it was like 20, God, it was a lot of money, $2,300. Can you check with them again?
I thought that was should be put in.
Yeah,
For a new light or what?
we don't have one there, it's really dark.
Where at?
Like,
It was dark, you don't need light.
We
Yeah,
can paint
you
your
know
glow
how
in
it
the, we can paint your glow in the dark, you can stand up there all
Yeah,
day.
those dark is there, so. You know, just get the price on it, see what it's- that's all I have.
Okay, so on laid in front of you the email of Mike Nelson. Last time there was a discussion or concern with volunteers working over at the Memorial Hall. I just reached out to Mike Nelson. He told me that basically the volunteers would not be covered, and neither would any damage to the buildings unless we had them added to their workers' comp as a separate policy. So today, Don Barnhart got back to me. I made the application to get a volunteer policy that is separate from our original required policy. So you can see there, there's a minimum of $250 per account, so we'd have to pay that, plus a premium of $10.58 per person enrolled. I have to provide a list of the volunteers and their social security numbers to them to be added to that policy, if that's something that you want to move forward with. So we'd have to come up with a list of who those people would be. Submit that.
Okay. So now I have volunteer work for every applicant.
Or they have to get their own insurance.
Right, well,
Whatever. Because this is if it's individual. If it's a group, it's different, I thought. I'm not sure.
well, there's a premium per enrolled member with a minimum premium of $250.
Right, but that's not for an organization, that's for individuals.
Like a couple years ago, I think DRE, they helped on the riverboat. They came to this and they had a group of volunteers that came in and did that.
Okay.
They probably didn't need to do this because it
They had their own.
Their organization,
I see.
I think that's what he was trying to
Right,
Oh,
yep,
I see.
yep. If the organization is doing it,
Okay.
you know, this is if we do individual people
Got
that
it.
volunteer.
Oh,
You know,
all right.
that's not a business.
Okay, perfect. Anything else, Ray?
Noel and I are going to an HR training on June 18th in Bismarck by HR Collaboration, so that's on June 18th. And Jackie said she'd be able to cover the office that day. So we've got that going on. We went to a county meeting on, when was that?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
Mhm.
Lad Erickson, J.R. Curzon, Beth Knutson, Todd, were all there, kind of gave us some information regarding each of their offices. The one thing that Noel said is that our special assessments will now be going back to the city, so we will be getting the administration of all of our special assessments back from them. They no longer want to be liable for it, kind of. So that'll be some work that'll be coming back to the city. They're no longer going to do that. We'll have to yearly assess or certify to them what our specials will be, and then they will add that to the tax roll, and then they will collect it and then turn around and.
Okay.
So just know that that additional work is coming back to us.
Okay.
Um,
That starts when? Next year, or?
that'll start this next year, yeah. Bob Osses, just to give you an update on Bob Osses, there was a citation for him, for his dogs today, and I called Lauren Hundy, the judge, and so now it'll go before the judge, so just to kind of have an idea of where that's at. And then I had a question about July 5th. Jackie and I kind of both like to have that day off. It's on a Friday. So wondering what you would like to do for coverage, if we have an option of closing the office, having somebody come in and answer the phone. Just wanting your thoughts.
If
thoughts
I'm
on
around,
that.
I will do it. I will come in,
Okay.
you know. 'Cause I mean, I've ran the office before, so, you just have to remind me of it. I'll be back by June 21st, so yeah, I would come in and do that, sure. Just remind me a week before.
Okay. That's all I had.
I'm not paying you either, Larry.
I didn't ask for pay.
Just volunteer. Goes back to that.
There you go.
Goes back to that volunteer.
I I said volunteer. Brian?
Just wondering, like with the gravel that's getting, was dug up down there at the bottom, by the time they get to it, the water's gonna be washing it away, and I doubt they'd be using it for the project itself. So it'd be all right if we grab that and use it, put it in our compound.
You mean just to spread around in the compound, or
No,
just store it?
Just store it, no, for us, you know, 'cause I'm sure they're gonna haul their, I don't think.
They're bringing in their own gravel?
What's that?
I'm asking here.
It's gonna be, it'll be like as far as like installing for the road,
Yeah.
for around the pipe, that's all part of the.
Well, yeah, but
part
I
of
mean,
the
you know,
bid.
like for the, sub-base, or the, basement of the, asphalt.
Yeah, they're gonna find fill wherever we can. So I think one of the, you guys have a lot of extra fill still over here.
No, we don't have any.
We're talking about gravel though,
We-
you
yeah,
know,
we-
the
yeah,
gravel, the
we
gravel
have-
thing.
They'll be bringing in new gravel.
Okay.
That'll be part of the price of the road.
Okay,
For the road, and
Right.
they'll be bringing in, they'll have bedding for around the pipe
right,
on the bottom, that's part of the price of that pipe.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they'll be bringing that in, yeah.
okay, yeah, so we can cob it then.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And then the cement, somebody was asking about the cement that they could have it. Is that possible? We can give it to them, the curb and stuff that was tore up?
They have to come and get it, right? Well, I don't think White, they don't want to do it.
No, that just added to the cost. Well, you probably got that built in already, I don't know.
To remove the curb? Or to-
Well, what's been removed already, yeah, to take it and haul it out wherever.
Well,
I mean, if it's already been, how much curb is there sitting over there? Is it very much?
well, the stuff's still there, 'cause
Some,
you, the
yeah.
sidewalk's coming out, the curb's coming out,
Yeah.
you know.
Are you talking they want what's there now or what's going to come out?
No, they're just talking what's there now.
They probably want it all, right?
If there's stuff there that they have to haul out and dispose of, they're gonna get paid for it.
Right.
I mean, unless you're gonna use it for something else and get it out of their way before they can do it.
No, just somebody was curious if they could have it. I just wondered. I thought maybe it saved them getting rid of it.
Does that save us any money?
Well, I mean, that's a measured quantity, so it would save you money for removal. Cause I mean, we probably were heavy on the removal quantities, cause a lot of that dirt is already gone,
Right.
that
Right,
when we did the design, we didn't come for all of it,
Right.
so,
right.
in the end, the project will cost less, but.
Well, I would
those
say,
things wash themselves out, plus and minus quantities all the time.
I guess I would say if they wanna come and get it and load it themselves and haul it out, they can
Right.
do that.
Okay.
I don't see any problem with that.
I don't see any problem with it either. And then you can mention there might be some more,
Okay.
and I guess, you can
Then somebody else.
talk with Eric on that, and then you
Okay,
can
then
let
somebody
Wise know.
mentioned trees too. We got several trees, but Ray took it to the tree board, and then to mark them. There's somebody who said they're interested in cutting trees. And I just said, well.
Down there?
They didn't say anything about any tree at this point. There's a few of them over at the old Lewis and Clark Apartments. There's the one by Morris Nelson's, big ash tree.
Oh,
And this person, of course, made it sound like he cut them for little or nothing and haul them away. And because he wants them for firewood, so I just.
well, we're not gonna pay him.
Well, I think that's what he was kind of looking at, but.
In those trees that are being removed as part of the project, everything, not just the tree and the one branch, like the whole root ball has to come out for us to get that, so.
They said they would probably chip them,
Oh, okay.
and we'll take chips, we love chips. People come to Catholic. And the forestry board uses them too. Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Jesse? Rhonda? Okay. I think that's all I have. Bills?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions on the bills? Okay. Colin?
Aye.
Kip?
Right.
Mike?
Aye.
Al? Yes. Okay, thank you, Karen. The next meeting, June 24th. Eric, I signed off, I gotta go.
You got a couple minutes, Noel?
You want me to give these to
I wanna look, see if we
These are
can figure out
copies.
a budget
These are
for the
copies of the
elevator.
permits,
We can
just like I
buy
gave you
them.
last time. So we can have them.
I think Rainey said she'd have a second.
You're not gonna be here for the next meeting, are you?
Yeah, I will.
Oh, you will be, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Larry.
yeah, you bet.
Appreciate it.
So,
You get to sign?
Colin gets,
Hey, you want to put Kirk back in here for a second?
huh?